Hey everyone, Lore Master of Sotek here with some various news from Games Workshop that I want to talk about today, just briefly. I know this isn't lore, or what you're typically used to, but starting with yesterday, the game that many of you seem to be watching, I'm actually surprised with the amount of views we're getting on the 40k game I streamed yesterday. So hopefully that means people enjoyed it and want more of it in the future, and that might be something we do on Saturdays. But in any event, there's been a lot of news this past weekend about both 40k and Age of Sigmar, and I wanted to talk about them just a little bit because obviously that is something core to my channel, and Age of Sigmar especially is something that we're going to be approaching a little more in depth in the future. I can't say exactly when in the future, but sometime hopefully before the end of summer. But in any event, for those of you who are interested in it, which seems to be kind of a growing population, which I'm happy about, gameplay-wise, I'm very excited for this announcement above all others, which is that they have announced that we're going to be getting a second edition of Age of Sigmar. So basically, they're obviously working on the lore to expand a lot more, which is always great. But more importantly, they're making the rules a lot more interesting, and they're getting rid of a lot of the rules that I have problems with, especially when it comes to like shooting in particular. They also are adding a more sophisticated magic system, which is going to be really interesting. They've actually got like these physical pieces that are going to represent certain spells, like Purple Sun of Death now has an actual model. And things like that, and it's going to be really interesting to see where they go with it. On top of that, they announced some new factions. There's the Night Haunts over here, who I'm certainly going to be picking up. It's literally just a faction of spooky ghosts, but there's all sorts of different kinds of skeletons. They've even got Skaven undead, which you can see here, or Skaven-themed ghosts. But the models just look absolutely gorgeous, and I always love like Cairn Wraiths and Banshees. And the fact that they're getting an entire faction to themselves with all sorts of new models. This is the kind of release for Death we've been waiting for. Like, if you're a Death fan, Grand Alliance of Death, or someone who serves Nagash, and this is what you've been waiting for since Age of Sigmar was announced. Death has had not a single new model for 2 years, and now we're finally getting just everything about this just looks amazing. Like, they've got, like, the characters look amazing. There's this crazy gibbet guy in the back. They've got this weird creature back here that's carrying chains, and it's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Of course, there's a lot of rumors that they're going to be bringing in their own Mortarch. So we might see in one of the... Typically, Nagash likes to have 8 Mortarchs. They're like his commanders and generals of the highest caliber. And rumor has it, based on the video that was released on Saturday, that there's a new Mortarch coming who's going to be in charge of them, and there's some rumors even saying it might be Isabella von Karnstein, which could be really interesting as the Mortarch of Grief, I think is what the rumor mill says right now. That would be fascinating to see. They also released a new Stormcast Eternal faction, which, I can't say I care about that one as much. You can see some of them down here. They're basically the Stormcast Eternals, which are the Sigmarines, as some people call them. I think they're the least interesting faction for Age of Sigmar, just because they kind of can do everything already. But they're getting a new book that allows them. Previously, the only thing they could not do is they could not use magic. But that's now no longer the case, as they are getting a new faction that can use magic, because, you know, Sigmar can do anything. There was actually a new video they put out that I might try and pull up for the end of this video. I probably won't, but you can look it up pretty easily going to Games Workshop's. If you go to YouTube and type in Warhammer TV, that's their YouTube channel. You can go there and watch it. Where basically they do kind of an amusing. They take an amusing take on the fact that a lot of the community complains that the Stormcast already have too expanded of a roster and are just getting more stuff. And GW's response was very on the nose about it. Personally, I don't really like the Stormcasts. I find them fairly weak narratively, but we'll talk about that more in the future. But so those are the exciting changes coming to Age of Sigmar. The second edition announcement is huge. We don't know when it's going to release yet. Of course, the Ideneth Deepkin have been out for a little bit now, and they seem to be doing extremely well. I haven't had the pleasure to play them yet, or play against them. Hopefully, I'll get to do that soon. For 40k, there were a bunch of releases announced. The Harlequin book's about to come out, and there's a bunch of good stuff there. You'll probably see me fighting Fowl's Harlequins with my Tyranids maybe this weekend. I think I might try and fit in a single Age of Sigmar game and a single 40k game every Saturday. Just do 2 games, like one in the morning and one in the evening. But we'll kind of see with that. But that's most of the news so far. Another thing I kind of wanted to talk about is so there's been a lot of speculation about Warhammer Fantasy's place within the future. For those of you who don't know, I will take a moment here to say that we have had it confirmed that Warhammer Fantasy 4th Edition RPG is coming out, and not only is it coming out, it's coming out in June for online pre-orders. So, like, if you're going to get an ebook version of it, you can get it in June. If you're going to get physical versions, you have to wait till July. I will probably pick up both. I might reach out to the company. I think it's Fantasy Flight Games, maybe. I can't remember exactly who's publishing it, but I might reach out to them and see if I can get a review copy. I'm hoping to do like a little event with a small group of YouTubers, just like a one-day campaign, you know, that you can blow through in like a single sit-down. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll try it, just to do something fun and kind of introduce and see what's new with it. Or it might just be... and let me know if y'all would like to see that, and what YouTubers you would want to see invited to that. You know, especially the YouTubers that I know. You know, obviously if you suggest someone like Jesse Cox or someone like that, or you know, like any of the huge people that I am a mite to, that's not going to happen. But maybe like Turin or Dov Plays or Professor Pone or Janet, or you know, just like who you'd like to see from that circle. And if we can't get that together, I will at least do a sit down reading through it and do like a really nice long video of me just going through it all and talking about what's different and if I like it or not, because I know that's kind of been a growing part of my community, is people who are really interested in role-playing games. Other than that, as far as other Warhammer Fantasy stuff, if there's a video Italian Spartacus did that I will link down to in the description below, where he kind of talked about this new thing that they've got going on called Warhammer Legends. And basically what it is that they've decided to start bringing back old models from Warhammer Fantasy. Here it is, Warhammer Legends. And basically, they started with the Dark Elves so far, and basically what they've done is they're just bringing back all of the Dark Elf models that did not make it into Age of Sigmar, and are re-releasing them with rules for Age of Sigmar that can be used in anything except competitive play. But they are functionally bringing them back. There's been some speculation about whether this could see a return to Warhammer Fantasy, or maybe its resurrection as like a side IP to Age of Sigmar, and I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on that. I honestly think, after talking to a lot of people from different backgrounds, that Warhammer Fantasy as a tabletop army game is dead. And it's never coming back. Ever. It's gone forever. I think Age of Sigmar, 40k are where you're going to be. However, I think that thanks to the success of games like Total War Warhammer and Vermintide 2, Warhammer Fantasy is entering a new age, yes, of support from Games Workshop. I do think that Games Workshop is looking to actively keep the Warhammer Fantasy universe alive in every medium that they can, with the exception of an army-based tabletop game. I think we could potentially see a return to Mordheim, or at least its Age of Sigmar version, which is kind of like Shadespire. I don't know if they're going to expand it beyond that, but we'll see. But obviously we have the RPG coming out. There's also an RPG coming out, I think by the same company, for Age of Sigmar, but they're doing them in tandem. So you're going to be able to do 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy, or you can do Age of Sigmar, or both, obviously. And the 4th edition is going to supposedly be covering things that Games Workshop never explored before, like Cathay and End and the Far East. So hopefully that's true, and I'll get way more new stuff to explore. But even if it's just a consolidation of the old lore and just bringing a lot of the really niche stuff up to date, it would be great. Because, you know, the Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition roleplay is where I have to get a lot of details from, especially on like the Empire or Bretonia, and the human kingdoms. But a lot of that stuff is really out of date. But in any event, I just sort of wanted to talk through some various aspects of news and throw out a couple little things. This is sort of a rambling video as far as just getting out some notes on things. If you haven't already, I would really recommend all of you to go to Reddit and consider joining the Age of Sigmar subreddit or the 40k subreddit if you're interested in this kind of news, or even just you can just subscribe to Games Workshop has a new type of newsletter coming out to stay up to date on news. And if there's anything y'all want me to cover in particular going forward, I would really appreciate it if you'd put it down in the comment section. And like, if you see somebody that says something that you agree with, like, hit the like button on their comment so I can see what y'all are interested in. I know a lot of this community is a silent majority, but, you know, those of you who are willing to be vocal, I appreciate it. You know, do y'all want to see Age of Sigmar covered? Do you want me to be covering army books? Do you want me to talk about how good they are to play? Do you want me to talk about their lore? Do you just not want to hear about it ever? Do you want me to talk about playing 40... Like the games on Saturdays. Does that sound like a great idea? Playing an Age of Sigmar game and a 40k game on a Saturday? And maybe talk about rules and tourneys and stuff like that? Or is that, you know... Because I'm going to do that regardless. It's just a matter of whether it's content that y'all would like to consume and have access to. So in any event, that'll wrap us up for today. I just wanted to put this out real quick. It's just kind of a, you know, just a easy little thing. I hope you're all doing really well, and I've seen many of you on my live streams, and I hope I'll continue to see you all around the place. Don't forget to go check out the Chaos Dwarf Q&A if you haven't already. And the only other thing is if you're looking to check out some new video games right now, I have a link down in the description below that you can go check out a company that I have a partnership with called Fanatical, who can give you pretty nice discounts on basically any video game on Steam. And not only do you get nice discounts, you save some money, I make a little money, and you can know for a fact that all of their keys come from reliable sources that make sure the developers aren't getting screwed over, which is such a important thing nowadays. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys around. Feel free to join me on my live streams. I'm streaming every day now, so hope to see you around. That's all. Bye, guys.